Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're working on just a few projects out here in the garden before the wind and rain arrives, which is supposed to get here at about 11 this morning, so I tried to get out fairly early. I just have a few containers I want to pot up. I've got some violas in the greenhouse that I don't want them to go to waste, even though it feels weird to be planting them in April when I know next month we're going to be swapping them out for summer plants. But, I mean, I'm still in a jacket. It's still pretty cold outside. However, I started this morning by taking apart a little bit of the lawn in the greenhouse, and I worked up quite a sweat. I had this romantic notion that I could go in there and just cut a strip, roll it up nicely like a rug, and then bring it in here to the chicken coop and roll it back out for the chickens. Not the case. That grass had rooted into the landscape fabric that we lined the bed with. Oh my word, I had to just chunk it out of there. But the chickens are loving it. Russell. Bev's holding out for mealworms. She always holds out for the good stuff. Don't you, Bev? Oh, the word is out. Who wants dumb old grass when you can have dried up worms, right? Here, we'll make them work for it. It's like an Easter egg hunt. Get your greens. When we planted up the lawn in the greenhouse, this was always my plan. I just thought, the chickens will enjoy it. The kids will enjoy it, first of all, for months, which they did. And then the chickens will enjoy it afterward. And I can just kind of gradually get rid of it, which I think over the next week or two, we'll have that whole thing out of there. And then we'll have more room for tables in the greenhouse, which is becoming more and more important as seedlings are growing and getting bigger. All right, girlies, enjoy. So this is what we're going to work on. We're going to clean out this window box here, which you can see still has our stuff from last fall. And I'd like to plant up the 2 shallow urns right behind the Hartley. Ooh, the breeze is starting to pick up already. Well, we'll start with those 3 containers and we may end up in the greenhouse. I do want to sow most of my zinnia and cosmos seeds in trays this year rather than direct seeding, which I've always just direct seeded them in the ground, and it works out great if you're very consistent with water. And, every year out in the cut flower garden, we are consistent with water, but it's a huge chore to drag hoses out 2 or 3 times a day for a while until they germinate. So I think I want to try it in trays this year just to see how that goes. Also, I think it would be nice for thinning too. I think it's going to eliminate the need to do a bunch of thinning because we can plant them at the right distance. I need one of these. I think we have enough pop-up bags. See, what happens is we rip something or something starts falling apart, so we order a new one, but we still try to eke as much life out of these broken ones until we just can't anymore. And I have no idea what's going in this window box other than I have 3 6-packs of yellow violas, which I think will be very pretty, and then we're just going to cobble together whatever else we think might look nice. Our neighbor is out mowing. I don't know if you can hear that sound. It's a glorious sound. I love it. But that's what it is, if you are hearing it. And you guys, I don't plan on replacing the soil in this window box. Here's why. I actually might do a completely different window box. If I decide just to keep this one, I need to replace this liner because it is starting to fall apart in some areas. So what I'll do after spring is I'll just pop the whole thing out and toss it in our pile, and we'll put a new cocoa fiber liner in here and fresh soil. Plus, this was brand new soil last fall, and fall plants don't tax soil like summer plants do, and this is a short-term arrangement, so those are my reasons. Warm in here. So this is what I'm going to put in the pots behind the Hartley, and that's what I always intended when I picked these up, so I'll probably just split these in half and put them in there. These are what I want to go in the chicken coop window box, and maybe we can toss a few of these in. I was thinking Gerberas, but I don't know. I don't think so. And you guys, these right here will probably drop seed and root and take off in this area. And these dianthus, we'll either be able to leave them in this window box for the summertime, or we can move them and use them somewhere else. They're not hardy enough to withstand our winter temperatures, but they are a cool season. Like, they can handle what we've got going right now. They're called a Super Trooper Magenta White. And Aaron and I think it was like January, we picked these up in Boise at a greenhouse, and they've been doing great, blooming the whole time. And I think these plants will be really happy out here. If our temperature looks like it's going to go down a little bit too much, because these have been in a heated greenhouse, I'll just toss a piece of harvest material like that frost cloth over the top of them, just until they kind of hardy up a little bit. I did look at our forecast, so it does look like we're not dipping below freezing at this point. I mean, we just got done having a night in the high 20s, and our snowdrops are still blooming in April. Okay, let's gather our stuff for those 2 shallow urns, and we'll get those done. All right, I'm just trying to decide if I should put something else in the urns with the violas. Maybe we'll just try those by themselves and see if they fit okay. It's supposed to warm up quite a bit next week though, so even if there's some space, I think they're gonna put on growth really fast. I'm gonna get these set up for drip as well. That's something we did not do last year, and I regretted missing that step. Turned out so cute. Look at how sweet these planters are. So simple, but so colorful again. Oh, and I just love the sweet faces on these flowers. Oh, I did get the drip run in. It's not tapped into a system, so I usually leave a fairly long tail here until we decide what we want to do. I might have to just connect more 1/4 inch and take it over to that flower bed and tap it in, to the drip that we're going to have running. Well, you can see the tube right there. But at least for now, it's running up through the drain hole of the container. I've got the brown 1/4 inch running through the pot, which, you can see it right now, but you won't be able to see it very soon, once these flowers grow up just a little bit. So it's just a matter of tapping it into a drip line somewhere, and then we'll be good to go. And here's this one. I had a heck of a time with the drip tubing in here. It was really squirrely. So it's kind of like popping up here, and I just kind of said uncle, and I'm leaving it where it's at for now. I'll just wait till it's a warm day out, and the tubing will be a lot more flexible. I'll be able to work it around the flowers a little better. Okay, so I think that's all we're gonna do out here, just because I know the weather's coming. And I also remembered that I told my mom I would pot up some of those really beautiful butterhead lettuce plants that I have in the greenhouse that we grew in there for her Easter dinner table. I think they'll look super cute, kind of intermixed in whatever else she's got going for the center of her table in little terracotta pots. Oh, you know what? P.S. Before we leave this area, I just have to show you what the tulips are doing here, because I thought these were going to grow really weird and not at the same time, because those 2 squares were not coming up, and these you could see all of the tops, but you can see all the tops of the tulips here, here, and here. This was the last one to come up, but they've all caught up. They're about the same size. I mean, roughly. Those might be a skosh bigger. Isn't that going to be gorgeous? I can't wait to see those in bloom. All right, I think we've got what we need for this next project. So we've got the Casey Butterhead lettuce. Isn't that gorgeous? It's so pretty. And I'll grab a few more, like the best looking ones. And we're gonna pot them in these little unique stone pots. And I cannot remember for the life of me what the name of these pots are, but they are so sweet. And I think they're gonna tuck into an Easter centerpiece just beautifully, because don't these just look like spring and Easter and bunnies? I think they do. And then I've got my trays to do zinnias. I think I'm just going to focus on zinnias today, because I think that's all the trays I have. I've got 4 of the paper pot trays that have 50 cells each. So that'll be 200 plants. And then I'll do 1 tray that has 72 cells. So 272 zinnia plants. I think that'll be enough. I'm trying to think of how many, and I probably should do the math. Where's my phone? I always do rows in 3s. and they're 60 feet long, so that's 180 feet. 180 times 12, that's 2,160 inches. If I go every 6 inches, I would need 360 plants. Okay. Oh, it says spaced 9 to 12 inches apart. Sweet, let me do my math again. 2,160 divided by 9, 240 plants. We'll have plenty. It'll be perfect. If I decide to only do 1 row. Last year I did 3. I might do some direct seeding as well. It just kind of depends on how everything plays out. We have so many plants in here that I have plenty. I have more than enough to fill the space out there. And, you know, part of it's dedicated to dahlias. Part of it's going to be dedicated to a brand new garden space this year, a different kind of theme. So, you know, I don't know what's going to end up where. Doesn't matter. We'll get it filled in the end. Let's get our lettuce potted first, though. I just have the organic potting mix, the regular potting mix already in the potting tray here, and that's what we use. Wow, look at that root system. Oh my gosh, are these not the cutest little planters ever? So I called my mom just to verify pot color. She thought something gray would look nice, which I did too. I was thankful because I'd already started the potting project. And then we decided on 7, just in case, because she likes to do a very full table centerpiece. So she likes it to look very plentiful. So I think it's going to be this, mixed with some yellow daffodils and some bunny decorations. And we have plenty more lettuce to eat. This can be eaten as well after Easter. I'm just going to mix the seed starting mix in with the regular potting mix, just mix it all together and moisten it. And then we'll fill our seed trays like normal. Zinnia seeds need to be covered, but just not super deep. I don't know if it says depth on here, 1/4 of an inch deep. And if you're starting seeds like this, in particular, the zinnias and cosmos, inside, you want to go about 4 weeks before your average last frost date, which I think I'm even closer to that than 4 weeks. Usually our last one is the first part of May, but with how weird this spring has been, I think we can keep them in here for a little longer. The thing is that you don't want them to become like super root bound and start to languish in their trays, because I am not going to bump this type of plant up in size. I only do that with specific ones that I want more size on, like our geraniums, which are right here and looking beautiful, thriving, and growing. I've already shared all the zinnia varieties I have, I think, in past videos. So what I'll do is get them all planted, and then I'll run through each tray and just let you know which ones ended up being planted today, because I doubt I'm gonna get all of them in today. Okay, so this part goes pretty fast. Here we go. All right, guys, we got all the zinnias planted. Can you hear the rain? Being in a greenhouse when it's raining is one of the best things ever. But we've got these 4 flats and then this flat. Cheddar. Don't even think about it, dude. Let's just start with this flat because I feel like I need to be guarding it right now. We've got the pink senoritas, and I did half a flat of those, so 25. And then Redmond Super Cactus. Those 2 varieties were probably my top favorites last year. I got both of them from Rare Seeds or Baker Creek. And the pink senorita is a really fluffy kind of a cactus type zinnia, and they're huge. They're absolutely massive. The color is beautiful, and I just really enjoyed that form, that flower form, way more than I thought I would. Same with the Redmond super cactus, and that one's super bright, like orange red, but I just loved it. It was so fun to arrange with. In this flat right here, we have the giant lime, the queen lime blush, Queenie lemon peach, and the Queenie series mix. The Queenie lemon peach I'm very excited for. I have never grown that variety. It's a very interesting color. Creamy yellow giant dahlia zinnia. I did 3 rows of that. Super beautiful, pale, like pale buttery yellow, huge flowers. There's the giant purple. I only did 1 row of those because I find that I don't use that color all that often, but I do like to see a little bit of it. We've got the giant white, giant scarlet, and the salmon rose. In this flat, we have cupcake pink, Mazurkia, which is like a red-white, and then Cinderella Peach. I have really good luck with that variety. And in this one, we have Oklahoma Salmon, Oklahoma Ivory, and the Peruviana. And the Peruviana is a really interesting color. It's kind of like a burnt orange, like a very smoky orange, and they're smaller flowers. They're a really beautiful filler flower and super productive plant. There are pros and cons to starting seeds in trays versus direct seeding them if it's a type of seed you can do that with. But one of the things I was noticing as I was seeding these is that I waste far less seed because I'm putting 2 seeds per cell. Out in the garden, I just do one of these and I blow through seeds so fast. That's why I had such a huge stack of seed packets because I always have to plan for kind of that excess. I could be a little bit more diligent about where I plant them, but when you're out there and you're busy, you've got tons of projects going on, it's just easier to do one of the sprinkle method sort of plantings. So this is definitely the way to go to conserve on seed. I think having most of these in paper pots will be super nice because when it comes time to plant them out, we just can peel them apart and plant the whole thing in the ground. It's just a really fast process and it's minimal upset to the plant's roots. And I used a couple of these trays last year. I grew a late crop of California giant zinnias and some amaranth. Did I do celosia as well? Anyway, I started them super late, and when I went out to plant them out in the garden, it was just such a nice process, and those plants did so beautifully. So when we go out to plant these, we'll already have our drip tape run, and I can just pop a plant wherever there's an emitter from the drip tape, and we should be good to go. I'm really excited about it. Plus, I have a ton of seeds left over, so if I do want to do another row and I want to direct seed them, I still have plenty to do that. So anyway, that's it for our projects today. I'm super happy that we got the violas out. That was kind of my last spring, like very spring type plant in here. The rest of the stuff I have in here can wait. You know, it's stuff that can go out as perennials in the flower beds. There are plants that are versatile that can either be used for spring or summer. Those violas were like my last ones that needed to be out in the cooler months. So we'll be able to enjoy those for a good month, month and a half before we pull those for summer plants. And I feel good about that. And then getting the sweet lettuce planted up, I will try to remember on Sunday to get a little pan of how the table centerpiece turned out with the lettuce. I think it's going to be so sweet. I'm actually going to take those down to my mom down at the garden center today so she can go home, and she likes to do the table scape like the day before, so it's not a huge rush the day of. So the last things we have to plant are the Cosmos Amaranth. I think that might be it. I don't know. I need to go back through my stash, but we got a lot going on. It's very fun. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.